me up, that hat, moron. Where you going, Barry boy? I'm coming right after you.
Very chivalrous, I'm sure.
What do you think you're doing? Well, you can't stop. You ain't got nothing anyhow.
Hey guys, how's it going? You know who it is, right? So, this is, as you know, Midnight Club Street Racing, the most overlooked game in the series. And I've said this a lot already, but yes, this is actually really fun. But maybe it's because I played this game before it got too old. See, back when I played it, Midnight Club 2 was the most recent of the series, and for a while, this was the only Midnight Club I played. And even I didn't appreciate it right away, especially as a kid whose first exposure to the series was the second game, not this one. But I gave it a chance, and the arcade mode is what got me hooked on the game. I couldn't even get to Kareem in the career mode at first, because by the time you unlock him, you still don't have a fast enough car to catch up or keep up with him on a straight line. And if you look at the map here, the outside is mostly straight lines. But once I figured out how to actually catch him, this game suddenly became beatable. And I was really disappointed when I learned how bad the Type S is. Now, there's still a few more things I want to talk about with this game, but I'll be brief with it, promise. So, in career mode, each racer has 3 cars, except Darren has 2 and Anika only has 1. But if you win each of the other racers' cars, they default back to their first car when you have to follow them, and they still use their other variants in their waypoint races. I'm guessing each racer have at least 6 different cars they use, and half of them go to the player when they lose so they're not wiped out of the Midnight Club. But why doesn't Kareem give us his car when we beat him in the New York Championship race, yet Darren gives us his car when we beat him in London? What is it about Kareem that allows him to keep his car and use it in London, or maybe Darren is just being nice to us? I'd like to think it's Kareem being cheap, because he probably wasn't expecting us to be fast enough to hang with them or the other hookmen in London, so maybe he broke a rule and pocketed his PT Phoenix because he's a scaredy little bitch. Yeah, I said it. Fight me right now! Also, there are multiple real-life sponsors in this game, as well as real-life commercials like Coca-Cola, Def Jam, Angel Studios. So, while this is a fictional setting, it has the same brands we have here in supposedly real-life Earth. But who knows? Maybe it's us living in a fictional world, and it's them living in real life, and that reality is just a video game we get to play and manipulate to our advantage and, most importantly, to our amusement. Maybe all of these characters, all of these pedestrians, all of these cars driving around in the world are just regular people living their regular life, only to be derailed due to our involvement in their circumstances. I can't promise you that anyone was left unharmed during the recording of this footage throughout this series.
Hey, hold on there. I want to ask you something.
Which reminds me, I noticed a couple quirks about the AI. The first thing I noticed is that the racers tend to finish ever so slightly after the timer runs out, and they still get accepted at the finish line. Here's an example. Now, tell me that I'm not going crazy, and that the remaining time left by the time I finished, and the time this racer finished is mathematically incompatible with the intended game mechanics here. I've always had good grades in math, so certainly I'm not going crazy. You do believe me, right? Another thing I noticed is that when the AI fall into the water, they don't DNF. Weird. They don't respawn, they don't die, they just float there, chilling above the surface of the water, if you can even call it that. I don't know if it's safe to swim in this water, I guess we'll keep calling it, because just below the surface is a blurry void, a dimension living right underneath us that pushes us back onto the surface world, and stepping into the void is deadly, and I'll be honest, I'm too chicken to dive down there and find out what's over there outside of lights that appear in the surface world being reflected down into the void. That's some scary shit, and apparently the AI are immune to the effects, but of course, they don't actually finish the race, so it may as well be an unofficial DNF, I guess. Oh, and remember that car I mentioned in the last episode? The one where we'd have to play another game to unlock? Well, that other game is Smugglers Run, a game where you use a buggy to do some smuggling, and that's basically it. This game was also developed by Angel Studios and was released on the same day Midnight Club Street Racing did on the PS2. If you have a memory card that has a save of this game, you get to use the buggy in arcade mode, and it drives just like it does in the other game. It's really loose in handling, and you can tell that this vehicle really wasn't meant for this game at all. It even regenerates its health like in Smugglers Run, even if its fallen parts never get replaced. I'll place it here in my tier list from the last episode, and even with a clear health bar, it still says it damaged out when I fall in the water, yet I can drive it in the water just fine in the other game. Maybe I should just play Smugglers Run instead. So, this is it. If I cover this game again, it's not going to be on an official episode, but rather a speed run, or a casual run, or a capture the flag video, things of that nature. I'm down to cover this game more if you guys would like to see more, but in terms of the It's Midnight Club series, this is it. If you've never played this game, or this is the first time you've even heard of this game, well, I can't say you're missing out on too much, aside from the roots of what made one of the best racing game series of the PS2 era come about. This game is overlooked, much like being a taxi driver surrounded by racers who have no problem pushing you off the road, and police who wants to kill racers just to collect a paycheck every 2 weeks or so. This game is unloved, like the driver you are, where you're respected as you climb up the ranks, you're revered for your driving skills, and no longer can people underestimate you once you've beaten everyone, but not once do you get to experience the joy of being appreciated as what you are. You're forced to be something you're not, because according to career mode, you as a taxi driver is not good enough. You have to be like everyone else to beat everyone else. But arcade mode says otherwise. The super taxi is fast enough to beat the world champion. The taxi driver is good enough to beat anyone. If there's anything you take out of Midnight Club Street Racing, it's that no matter what people say or hear about you, no matter what is expected of you, you, as the individual, will always be good enough to the people that matter to you the most. And to this game, you, as the player, matter. Because despite people telling you this game sucks, despite people telling you that you should just skip this game and just start with Midnight Club 2 instead, never be ashamed of liking this game, even with the nostalgia glasses turned off. And never be ashamed to play it again, 20 years later, even when there's a lot of newer and better games you could be playing instead. And with that, it's your boy Dare, signing out.